Ji-hoo immediately noticed that his mother's voice was different than usual. There was excitement in her voice over the phone. Ji-hoo, could you come home early tonight? I have something to tell you. Ji-hoo paused in the academy hallway, holding the phone to his ear. It wasn't common for his mother to give advance notice like this. It had to be something important. Yes, I understand. That evening, Ji-hoo opened the front door and immediately found his mother sitting in the living room. Attorney Kim Seo-yeon. Ji-hoo's mother was always dressed in a neat suit with her hair neatly styled. But today was different. She was wearing a softer knit than usual, and her makeup was more vivid. Ji-hoo, sit down. His mother's expression brightened. Ji-hoo slowly sat down on the sofa. Mom, she's seeing someone, and she's thinking about marrying them. Ji-hoo had expected to hear this, but when he actually heard it, his mouth was still wide open. His mother divorced when he was in 3rd grade. They'd been living together ever since. Though a busy woman, she always did her best for Ji-hoo. Now, she was starting a family with someone new. Who is she? Han Do-yoon. She's a chef. You might have seen her on TV. Ji-hoo felt like he'd heard the name before. Someone from a cooking show. Someone who captivated people with her bright smile and eloquence. She asked me to have dinner with her this weekend. She said she'd like to meet Ji-hoo too. Anticipation filled her mother's voice. Ji-hoo nodded. Yeah, great. The weekend arrived sooner than expected. Ji-hoo and his mother headed to a restaurant in Gangnam. Even in the car, his mother kept looking in the mirror, reapplying her lipstick. Seeing her like that felt both unfamiliar and a little pitiful to Ji-hoo. Han Do-yoon was waiting at the restaurant entrance. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man. He looked neat and tidy in a black knit sweater and a beige coat. He smiled brightly as soon as he saw his mother. Soo-hyun, you're here. He then immediately turned his gaze to Ji-hoo. It's Ji-hoo. Nice to meet you. Call me Uncle Do-yoon. Ji-hoo took his hand. The handshake was warm. But at that moment, Ji-hoo felt something strange. Han Do-yoon's smile was perfect, but his eyes weren't as warm. It was a fleeting moment, but when their eyes met, his expression seemed to harden slightly. Nice to meet you. Ji-hoo gave a brief greeting. Throughout the meal, Han Do-yoon was the perfect fiancé. He paid close attention to his mother and spoke to Ji-hoo several times. He asked her how school was going, what her favorite food was, and what her future aspirations were. Ji-hoo gave short answers. His mother continued to smile. Ji-hoo tends to be a bit reserved, especially with strangers. His mother said apologetically. Han Do-yoon shook his head. No. On the contrary, I like him. He's being cautious. He looked at Ji-hoo again. That gaze made Ji-hoo uncomfortable once again. Ji-hoo lowered his head and stabbed his salad with his fork. When they parted ways after the meal, Han Do-yoon lightly patted Ji-hoo on the shoulder. Let's meet often. We'll be family from now on. Ji-hoo nodded in response. On the way home, his mother asked, how was it? Is he okay? Ji-hoo looked out the window and answered, yeah, I think he's okay. His mother sighed, seemingly relieved. If Ji-hoo likes him, that's enough for me. But Ji-hoo couldn't readily answer. He said it was okay, but a part of him felt uneasy. Han Do-yoon didn't seem like a bad person. Rather, he seemed perfect in every way. But why? That strange tension from meeting his eyes lingered in his mind. Ji-hoo took out his phone and sent a message to his friend Harin. Mom, I met my fiancé. But something feels off. Harin's reply arrived quickly. What's so strange? Is he a bad person? Ji-hoo thought for a moment and replied, I don't know. It just feels off. Harin sent an emoticon. It was a worried one. Ji-hoo turned off his phone and looked out the window again. The car was speeding through the darkness. Ji-hoo felt an inexplicable sense of unease. Nothing had happened yet, so why was his heart so heavy? That night, lying in bed, Ji-hoo couldn't sleep easily. Han Do-yoon's face kept coming to mind. That bright smile and warm words. But the cold gaze hidden beneath them also came to mind. Ji-hoo pulled the blanket up to his head. Perhaps he was overly worried. He was chosen by his mother, so he couldn't be a bad person. Despite consoling himself like that, Ji-hoo's anxiety didn't easily subside. Han Do-yoon came to the house often after that. At first, once a week, then 2 or 3 times a week. Now, he showed up almost every night, right at dinner time. His mother smiled brightly whenever he came. She'd come home from work earlier than usual and put extra effort into her makeup. Ji-hoo felt a mixture of emotions at seeing his mother like that. It was nice to see his mother happy, but it still felt strange to Ji-hoo that her happiness was due to Han Do-yoon. Han Do-yoon cooked for her every time he came home. He expertly prepared the ingredients, stirred the pot, and placed the food on a plate. His mother watched him with amazement. Pros are different, after all. It's nothing special. I just do it because I enjoy it. Han Do-yoon smiled humbly. Then she turned to Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo, enjoy your meal. Ji-hoo nodded and picked up his fork. The food was truly delicious. But Ji-hoo couldn't fully savor it. He was constantly distracted by Han Do-yoon's gaze. Even during the meal, Han Do-yoon frequently glanced at Ji-hoo. Whether he was talking with his mother or serving food, he would glance at Ji-hoo. There was something curious in his gaze. No, it was more like observation than curiosity. One evening, his mother received an urgent call and went into the study. Ji-hoo and Han Do-yoon were left alone in the living room. Ji-hoo pretended to look at his phone. Han Do-yoon cleared the table and spoke to Ji-hoo. How's school these days? I'm fine. How are you doing with your friends? Yes. Who are you closest with? Ji-hoo looked up. Han Do-yoon was wiping the table and looking at Ji-hoo. His expression was gentle, but his eyes were sharp. Haran. Haran? Is it a girl or a boy? A girl. I see. Do you meet often? Ji-hoo didn't answer. Why would he ask such a thing? Ji-hoo looked down at his phone again. Han Do-yoon was silent for a moment, then spoke again. Ji-hoo, if there's anything that bothers me, you can tell me. We're going to be a family, so we need to be honest with each other. No, it's okay. Ji-hoo answered briefly and stood up. I'll go into that room. Okay, go in. Han Do-yoon smiled, but Ji-hoo knew it wasn't genuine. A few days later, Ji-hoo cautiously spoke to his mother. Mom, I think Do-yoon is acting a little strange towards me. His mother paused in her coffee. Strange? What do you mean? He keeps asking me questions. Things like the names of his friends and where we're going. His mother thought for a moment and then smiled softly. That's because I want to understand Ji-hoo. Do-yoon is very interested in you. But it's a little uncomfortable. Ji-hoo. Mom took Ji-hoo's hand. It was awkward at first, Mom. But Do-yoon is a really good person. He wants to be good to Ji-hoo, too. Everything will be okay if you give him some time. Ji-hoo said nothing more. Mom seemed to have already made up her mind. It seemed like nothing Ji-hoo could say would be of any use. That night, Ji-hoo called Haran. Haran. Yeah, why? Your voice is strange? Do-yoon seems really strange. What happened? Ji-hoo confided in Haran about his recent events. Do-yoon's questions, his gaze. His demeanor different from when he was with his mom. Haran listened quietly. That's really strange. Even if he's your stepfather, shouldn't you be asking so many questions? But Mom said it was just attention. Isn't it because Ji-hoo's mom is in love? Just watch a little longer. If anything's really strange, tell me right away. Okay, I get it. Even after hanging up, Ji-hoo's heart remained heavy. He even received a house key. Many days, when Ji-hoo returned from the academy, Han Do-yoon was already home. One day, Ji-hoo opened the front door and was surprised to find Han Do-yoon sitting on the living room sofa. Ji-hoo greeted him. Hello. Ji-hoo, you're here. How was academy? It was fine. Ji-hoo took off his shoes and was about to go inside. Just then, Han Do-yoon asked again. Who did you come with today? Haran? Haran? Do you always hang out with Haran? No. I have other friends too. Who? Ji-hoo hesitated. Why did he keep asking such questions? Ji-hoo gave a short answer. Just the kids in class. Han Do-yoon nodded slowly and smiled. But that smile didn't make Ji-hoo feel comfortable. A few days later, Ji-hoo said he was going to a study cafe with his friends after dinner. His mother gave permission, but Han Do-yoon interrupted. Which study cafe? It's in front of the school. Until what time are you going to be there? Around 9. Who's going there? Ji-hoo felt annoyed, but he held it together. Haran, Minjun, and Sua. Minjun? Han Do-yoon's voice grew a little sharp. Is he a boy? Yes. What does he do? He's just a classmate. Han Do-yoon looked at Ji-hoo for a moment. Then she turned to her mother. Soo-hyun, kids these days don't just study at study cafes, do they? Her mother smiled and replied. Ji-hoo isn't that kind of kid. I know him well. Still, I have to be careful. The world is like this these days. Ji-hoo couldn't stand it any longer. I just don't want to go. Ji-hoo went into his room and closed the door. He could hear his mother and Han Do-yoon talking in the living room. But Ji-hoo didn't want to hear. That night, Ji-hoo lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Why did Han Do-yoon keep interfering? Even though he was a new father, this seemed too much. Ji-hoo took out his phone and sent a message to Haran. I can't go today. Sorry, Haran replied. Why? What's wrong? Do-yoon keeps asking. It's annoying. That guy really is weird. If it gets too much, tell mom properly. Ji-hoo didn't reply. Telling mom seemed pointless. A few days passed. Han Do-yoon kept asking questions: when to go to school, when to leave, who she went with, what they talked about. Even every time Ji-hoo looked at his phone, it seemed like he was sneaking a peek at the screen. Ji-hoo felt increasingly suffocated. Home was no longer a comfortable space. Everything felt uncomfortable when Han Do-yoon was there. One evening, Ji-hoo was watching TV in the living room while his mother showered. Han Do-yoon was washing dishes in the kitchen. Then Han Do-yoon asked Ji-hoo, Ji-hoo, is there anyone you talk to on the phone a lot these days? Ji-hoo didn't answer. Han Do-yoon asked again. A boy, perhaps? Ji-hoo turned the TV off and stood up. Why do you keep asking me that? Han Do-yoon turned his head. His expression was hard. I'm just curious. Is that weird? It is. Why do you need to know who my friend is? Ji-hoo. Han Do-yoon slowly approached. Ji-hoo took a step back. I'm your stepfather. Shouldn't I know how you're doing and who you hang out with? I don't think so. Ji-hoo, you're being rude right now. Han Do-yoon's voice grew cold. Ji-hoo decided he couldn't stand it any longer. It's Do-yoon who's being rude. You keep asking me questions and even sneaking glances at my phone. What? Han Do-yoon's face contorted. But it soon returned to its usual expression. Then he heard the bathroom door open. His mother was coming out. Han Do-yoon smiled again. Ji-hoo, don't get me wrong. I'm just worried about you. Ji-hoo said nothing. He went into his room and locked the door. Ji-hoo sat on the bed, his heart pounding. Han Do-yoon's cold expression lingered in his mind. Ji-hoo was certain. Han Do-yoon wasn't trying to understand him. He was trying to control him. Ji-hoo took out his diary and began writing down what happened that day. The date, the time, the questions Han Do-yoon asked, his expression. He recorded everything. He thought he might need this someday. Han Do-yoon's visits had become a routine. He came home almost every evening, and on weekends, he stayed all day. Mom seemed happy, but Ji-hoo was increasingly finding his time at home miserable. Ji-hoo extended his academy hours to get home later. But that didn't help. Han Do-yoon was waiting for Ji-hoo no matter what time he got home. Why are you so late today? I just studied at the academy. Alone? Yes. Really? Ji-hoo didn't answer. Han Do-yoon stared at Ji-hoo's face. Ji-hoo avoided her gaze and went into his room. One evening, Ji-hoo spoke to his mom again. This time, he was more specific. Mom, Do-yoon keeps asking for my friends' names and checking where they're going. I find it strange. Mom stopped washing the dishes. Then she slowly looked at Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo, Do-yoon is very interested in you. What's so strange about that? It's not interest. It's more like surveillance. Surveillance? Mom sighed. Ji-hoo, I think you're being too wary of Do-yoon. Do-yoon is a really good person. He's trying to be nice to you, too. That's not it. Then what is it? Ji-hoo fell silent. Mom patted Ji-hoo's shoulder gently. Ji-hoo, it was awkward at first, too. But it'll get better with time. Just be patient. Ji-hoo said nothing more. Mom was already on Do-yoon's side. Ji-hoo's words didn't reach her. That night, Ji-hoo lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. A feeling of helplessness washed over him. No one believed him, not even his mother. A few days later, Ji-hoo felt something strange on his way home from school. He felt someone following him. He looked back. No one was there. Ji-hoo quickened his pace. Only when he entered the academy building did he breathe a sigh of relief. But that evening, when he returned home, Han Do-yoon said something strange. Ji-hoo, did you go to the cafe in front of the academy today? Ji-hoo hesitated. Yes, just for a moment with a friend. With whom? Han. Han Do-yoon nodded. Then he smiled. I see. The coffee there was delicious. Ji-hoo felt a chill run down his spine. How did Han Do-yoon know? Ji-hoo had gone to that cafe for the first time today. And he hadn't even told his mother. How did you know? Huh? Oh, I just happened to see it in passing. Han Do-yoon answered calmly. But Ji-hoo knew. He was lying. The cafe in front of the academy wasn't a place Han Do-yoon usually frequented. Ji-hoo's heart pounded. Had Han Do-yoon followed him? Or was it just a coincidence? Ji-hoo couldn't be sure. That night, Ji-hoo called Han. Han, something really strange happened to me. What is it? Ji-hoo told Han what had happened that day. Han was silent for a moment, then said, Ji-hoo, that seems really serious. Are you following me? I don't know, but that can't be true. No, it could be. You have to be careful. After hanging up, Ji-hoo trembled with anxiety. Was Han Do-yoon really following him? The following Friday, Mom said she'd be home late due to an urgent matter. Ji-hoo felt relieved at the thought of being home alone. He wanted to relax without Han Do-yoon. But when he arrived home, Han Do-yoon's shoes were left in the hallway. Ji-hoo's heart sank. When he entered the living room, Han Do-yoon was sitting on the sofa. He smiled at Ji-hoo. You're here. I heard from Mom. You're going to be late today. That's why I came to make you dinner. It's okay. I can eat alone. What's wrong? We're family. Han Do-yoon went to the kitchen. Ji-hoo wanted to go into his room. But something felt off, so he stayed in the living room. Han Do-yoon took ingredients from the refrigerator and began cooking. He chopped vegetables with a knife and prepared meat. Ji-hoo watched from afar. Han Do-yoon suddenly said, Ji-hoo, come here. Why? It'd be good to learn how to cook. You can even make it yourself later. Ji-hoo slowly walked to the kitchen. Han Do-yoon was holding a knife. He showed it to Ji-hoo and said, you should cut it like this. Be careful with your hands. Ji-hoo nodded. Han Do-yoon resumed chopping vegetables. Then suddenly he stopped. He looked at Ji-hoo, knife in hand. His expression was frozen cold. Ji-hoo, huh? You said something strange about me to your mom, didn't you? Ji-hoo gasped. Han Do-yoon's voice was unusual. It was low, cold, and sharp. What are you talking about? Don't act like it. I heard from Soo-hyun. She said you were spying on me? Ji-hoo took a step back. That's true. Do-yoon followed me around. Followed me? Han Do-yoon scoffed. I was worried about you, that's why. But you're taking it so strangely. I'm not worried. That's Ji-hoo. Han Do-yoon took a step closer. Ji-hoo stood with his back to the table. There was no room to retreat. Don't worry, Mom. One action of yours could shake this family. Han Do-yoon's words were gentle. But there was a clear threat embedded within them. Ji-hoo felt his entire body freeze. I'm your new stepfather, so listen to me carefully, okay? Ji-hoo couldn't answer. Han Do-yoon looked at Ji-hoo for a moment, then returned to the kitchen. He continued cooking as if nothing had happened. Dinner will be ready soon. Wash up and come back. Ji-hoo's legs gave out. He barely made it to his room and locked the door. He then collapsed on the bed. Ji-hoo took out his phone with trembling hands. He wanted to call his mom. But would his mother believe him? Han Do-yoon was perfect in front of her. She might even blame Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo sent a message to Han. Han, I'm really scared. Do-yoon threatened me. Han's reply arrived quickly. What? Are you home now? Are you alone? Yeah, Mom's coming home late. Ji-hoo, aren't you in danger right now? Should I call the police? Ji-hoo thought for a moment. But Han Do-yoon hadn't directly threatened Ji-hoo. He'd just spoken. Would she believe him if the police came? No. It's okay. Mom will be here soon. Are you really okay? Should I go? No. It's okay. Ji-hoo finished the message and lay down on the bed. He could hear Han Do-yoon washing the dishes outside. He could also hear the TV in the living room turning on. He seemed unfazed. Ji-hoo pulled the blanket over himself and closed his eyes. But sleep didn't come. About an hour later, his mother returned. Ji-hoo looked into the living room through the crack in the door. Han Do-yoon greeted his mother warmly and warmed up dinner for her. What about Ji-hoo? He's resting in his room. I guess he's tired. Han Do-yoon's voice was gentle. Ji-hoo closed the door and lay back down on the bed. Ji-hoo was certain. Han Do-yoon was dangerous. And no one knew it. Ji-hoo opened his desk drawer and took out his diary. He wrote down everything that happened that day. Han Do-yoon's words, his expression, the way he held the knife. He wrote everything down. He felt he would need this record someday. Ji-hoo believed so. And he vowed. He wouldn't let this happen to him. He would reveal the truth. From that day on, Ji-hoo tried his best to avoid Han Do-yoon. He extended his academy hours, and even when he returned home, he locked his door and didn't come out. His mother assumed Ji-hoo was busy studying for exams. But Han Do-yoon still checked Ji-hoo's schedule. When he left home and when he came back. Every time Ji-hoo went out, Han Do-yoon asked, "Where are you going?" "To the academy." "What time do you finish?" 8 o'clock. "Are you going alone?" Ji-hoo left the front door without answering. He felt Han Do-yoon's gaze on his back. One day, on his way home from the academy, Ji-hoo felt someone following him again. This time, it was clear. Ji-hoo stopped and looked back. It felt like someone was standing at the corner of the alley. Ji-hoo started running. His heart pounded like it was going to burst. He ran all the way home without stopping for breath. When he opened the front door and stepped inside, Han Do-yoon was sitting in the living room. He smiled at Ji-hoo. "Why are you so out of breath? Did you run?" Ji-hoo didn't answer. He checked Han Do-yoon's clothes. They weren't outdoor clothes. They were comfortable clothes for home. "Were you home?" "Yeah, you've been here since earlier." "Why?" Ji-hoo was confused. Then who had followed him earlier? Was it a mistake? Ji-hoo went into his room and locked the door. Then he called Haran. "Haran, I felt like someone was following me again today." "Really? Who was it?" "I don't know. But when I got home, Do-yoon was there." "So, was it just me?" Haran was silent for a moment. "Ji-hoo, are you stressed out? Or is someone really following you?" "I'm scared." "Ji-hoo, this seems serious. You really need to gather evidence. That way, the adults will believe you." Ji-hoo nodded. Haran was right. The next day, Ji-hoo began to write in earnest. He wrote down the date and time in his diary, detailing Do-yoon-han's actions and words. He also decided to record the conversations on his phone. Several days passed. Han Do-yoon's behavior became increasingly blatant. One evening, Ji-hoo was on the phone with Haran, when there was a knock on the door. "Ji-hoo, it's me. Could you open the door?" It was Han Do-yoon's voice. Ji-hoo spoke softly to Haran. "Haran, I'll call you back later." Ji-hoo hung up and opened the door. Han Do-yoon was standing there, smiling. "Who were you talking to?" "A friend." "Haran?" "Yes. You've been talking to Haran a lot lately." Ji-hoo didn't answer. Han Do-yoon looked around Ji-hoo's room. He glanced at the phone on the desk. "Are your studies going well?" "Yes. If you have any concerns, you can tell me. I want to help you, too." Han Do-yoon spoke kindly, but Ji-hoo noticed his gaze lingering on his phone. "It's okay. I'll study now." "Okay, work hard." Han Do-yoon left the room. Ji-hoo quickly locked the door and checked his phone. He wondered if Han Do-yoon had secretly looked at his phone. But there was no way to know. Ji-hoo sat on the bed and opened his diary. He recorded the day's events. Han Do-yoon entering the room and looking at his phone. He asked who he was talking to. He wrote everything down. That night, Ji-hoo sent a message to Haran. "Haran, I'm at my limit. I think I'm going crazy." Haran replied, "Ji-hoo, cheer up. You're not alone. I'm here. Just hold on a little longer and gather evidence." Ji-hoo felt like crying. But he held back. He couldn't cry. He had to be strong now. A week later, something crucial happened. After school, Ji-hoo stopped by a convenience store with Haran. They were planning to grab a quick snack. The two sat on a bench in front of the convenience store and chatted. "How are you doing these days?" Haran asked. "Just the same. Do-yoon is still the same. Are you still keeping records?" "Yeah, but I don't know what to do with it." That's when Ji-hoo saw a familiar car across the alley. It was Han Do-yoon's. Ji-hoo froze. "Haran, over there." Haran turned her head. The car was moving slowly. It stopped in front of the convenience store. Han Do-yoon got out. He seemed surprised to see Ji-hoo. No, he pretended to be surprised. "Huh? Ji-hoo, what are you doing here?" "I was with a friend after school." Han Do-yoon looked at Haran. It's Haran. Hi. Haran bowed slightly. Hello. Han Do-yoon turned his gaze back to Ji-hoo. Let's go home together. I'll give you a ride. It's okay. I'll take the bus. What's wrong? I'm going home anyway. Han Do-yoon's voice was soft, but it was unyielding. Ji-hoo looked at Haran. Haran whispered softly, be careful. Ji-hoo nodded and got into Han Do-yoon's car. The car was filled with silence. Han Do-yoon said nothing, but his hands were firmly gripping the steering wheel. After a moment, Han Do-yoon spoke. Ji-hoo, will you be honest with me? What? You hate me, don't you? Ji-hoo didn't answer. Han Do-yoon asked again. What's wrong? What did I do wrong? Do-yoon is following me around. Ji-hoo said quietly. Han Do-yoon's hands stopped on the steering wheel. What? Near the academy, in front of the convenience store. Do-yoon keeps watching me. Ji-hoo. Han Do-yoon's voice dropped. That's a misunderstanding. I was just passing by. I'm lying. Ji-hoo decided not to hold back any longer. Today wasn't a coincidence either. Do-yoon came here on purpose. To check on me. Han Do-yoon was silent for a moment. Then he pulled over. Ji-hoo, are you treating me like a stalker? No, but this is strange. What Do-yoon is doing to me isn't attention. Then what is it? Control. Han Do-yoon's face hardened. He stared at Ji-hoo. Then he sighed. Ji-hoo, Mom is worried because of you. Because you can't accept me. I can't accept Do-yoon. Do-yoon is a strange person. Han Do-yoon said nothing more. He started the car again and headed home. When he arrived home, his mom hadn't yet returned from work. Ji-hoo hurried out of the car and entered the house. Han Do-yoon followed him. Ji-hoo tried to go into his room, but Han Do-yoon grabbed his arm. Ji-hoo, wait a minute. Let go. Don't say anything strange to Mom. Han Do-yoon's voice was cold. You can't ruin the peace in this house. Let go. Ji-hoo shook his arm away. He ran into his room and locked the door. Ji-hoo collapsed on the bed. His whole body trembled. He couldn't live like this anymore. Ji-hoo opened his desk drawer and took out the diary he'd been saving. It was the diary that contained all his records. Ji-hoo put it in his bag. It felt like it was time to show it to his mom. Even if she didn't believe him, Ji-hoo had to tell her. He had to tell her the truth. Ji-hoo took out his phone and sent her a message. Mom, I really need to tell you something today. Let's talk about it privately when you get home. His mom replied quickly. What's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, it's important. I have to. Okay, I'll be there soon, Mom. Ji-hoo put his phone down and looked out the window. The sun was setting. Darkness was falling. But Ji-hoo knew that after this darkness, a new morning would come. That the truth would definitely come out. Ji-hoo believed that. It was 8 o'clock when his mom arrived home. Ji-hoo waited in his room for her to arrive. He heard Han Do-yoon and his mom exchanging greetings from the living room. Seo-yeon, were you busy today? Yes, it was a bit much. How about Ji-hoo? He's in his room. He seemed a little sensitive today. Ji-hoo opened the door and came out. Mom smiled at him. Ji-hoo, what's wrong? I saw your message and was worried. Mom, can we talk just the two of us? Mom glanced at Han Do-yoon. Han Do-yoon spoke first. I'll go out. I'll wait at home. No, it's okay. Mom said. Do-yoon, you'll be part of the family soon. So it's okay to listen to whatever we have. Mom. Ji-hoo's voice was firm. You have to talk to him alone. Mom seemed to sense the seriousness in Ji-hoo's expression. Okay, I understand. Do-yoon, I'm sorry, but would you like to take your leave for today? Han Do-yoon hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Okay, I will. See you tomorrow, Ji-hoo. Han Do-yoon glanced at Ji-hoo briefly before heading to the front door. He heard the door close. Only Ji-hoo and his mother were left in the living room. His mother sat down on the sofa and said, Now, tell me, what's going on? Ji-hoo took a diary out of his bag and placed it in front of his mother. Mom, read this. What's this? It's about Do-yoon. It's about what happened over the past few weeks. His mother opened the diary and began reading slowly. Starting from the first page. Ji-hoo watched her expression. His face hardened. His brow furrowed with each page. The dates Ji-hoo had written down, the questions Han Do-yoon had asked. The circumstances surrounding Ji-hoo's pursuit. Everything was recorded in detail. After reading for a while, his mother looked up. Ji-hoo, is this all true? Yes. His voice trembled. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I told you, but Mom didn't believe me. She just said Do-yoon was interested in me. Mom looked down at the diary again. She lingered, especially on the day Do-yoon threatened Ji-hoo. Don't worry, Mom. Your one action could shake this family. Mom muttered softly. Then she closed the diary. Ji-hoo, I'm sorry. Mom's eyes reddened. I didn't realize. I didn't listen to you properly. Mom, I guess I thought I was too happy. I only believed Do-yoon was a good person. I ignored the discomfort you felt. Mom took Ji-hoo's hand. I'm so sorry. I couldn't protect you. Ji-hoo cried. The tears he'd been holding back flowed down his face. Mom, I was really scared. I know. It must have been so hard. Mom hugged Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo cried for a long time in his mother's arms. The next day, his mother called Han Do-yoon home. Ji-hoo was with him. Han Do-yoon came in with his usual bright smile. What are you calling for today? His mother sat on the sofa and looked at Han Do-yoon. Her expression was cold. Do-yoon, please sit down. Han Do-yoon seemed to sense something was off. He slowly sat down on the sofa. What's going on? His mother took out a diary and placed it on the table. Do you know this? Han Do-yoon frowned at the diary. What's that? It's a diary Ji-hoo wrote. It's a record of Do-yoon. Han Do-yoon's expression hardened. It's all written down what I asked Ji-hoo, where I saw him, what I said. His mother's voice was calm but firm. Especially this part, don't worry, Mom. Your one action could shake this family. Is that what Do-yoon said to Ji-hoo? Han Do-yoon was silent for a moment. Then he smiled awkwardly. Seo-yun, that's a misunderstanding. I'm worried about Ji-hoo. Worried? His mother cut him off. Are you worried about asking who Ji-hoo's friends are, checking where they're going, and following them near the academy? That. Han Do-yoon's voice wavered. I just wanted to make sure Ji-hoo was safe. Safety check? Or surveillance? Han Do-yoon couldn't answer her mother's question. Do-yoon. His mother spoke slowly. I believed Do-yoon was a good person. I thought he'd be good to Ji-hoo. But this isn't it. Seo-yun. Ji-hoo is my child. My precious daughter. She's more precious than anyone else. I can't just ignore her feeling anxious and scared. Han Do-yoon's face paled. I truly loved Seo-yun. I wanted to think of Ji-hoo as my own daughter. This isn't love, Do-yoon. His mother spoke quietly. True love is about respecting the other person, not controlling them. Han Do-yoon couldn't say anything more. He lowered his head. I'm sorry. I think our engagement ends here. Han Do-yoon raised his head at his mother's words, but didn't argue. He slowly stood up. I understand. I'm truly sorry. Han Do-yoon looked at Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo didn't look away. Ji-hoo, I'm sorry. I hurt you. Ji-hoo didn't respond. Han Do-yoon said nothing more and headed for the front door. The door closed. That evening, Mom and Ji-hoo had dinner together for the first time in a long time. It was kimchi stew Mom made herself. It wasn't very tasty, but Ji-hoo enjoyed it. Mom, are you okay? Ji-hoo asked cautiously. Yeah, I'm fine. Mom smiled. It was a slightly sad smile. Mom, you made a mistake. I guess I was too hasty in my pursuit of happiness. It's not your fault, Mom. No, it's your fault. It's because I didn't listen to you properly. Mom stroked Ji-hoo's head. I'll listen to you better from now on. If you say you're uncomfortable, I'll believe you really are. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom, for giving me courage. The two finished their meal in silence. A few weeks passed. The house was as peaceful as ever. Han Do-yoon never contacted her again. Mom didn't mention him either. Ji-hoo was walking home from the academy with Haran. How are you doing these days? Are you okay? Yeah, you're much better. That's good. I was really worried. Thank you, Haran. I couldn't have survived without you. What are you talking about? Just friends. The two walked along, smiling. When they arrived home, Mom was reading a book in the living room. She smiled happily at Ji-hoo. You're here? Are you hungry? Yeah. Mom ordered chicken. Let's eat together. Ji-hoo sat down next to his mom. The two shared chicken and talked about the day's events. It was an ordinary dinner. An unremarkable time. But for Ji-hoo, this ordinariness was precious. Ji-hoo realized, just because someone is an adult, just because they're going to be family, doesn't mean you have to trust them unconditionally. You have to be able to say when something's strange. And you have to trust your own feelings. Mom, huh? I had a good day today. His mom smiled and replied, yeah, you did well. And you'll continue to do so. Ji-hoo nodded. The sun was setting outside the window. But Ji-hoo wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. He knew that just like night follows morning, difficult times would pass. And Ji-hoo knew. He had a strong mother and a trustworthy friend. That alone was enough to make him strong. Ji-hoo smiled quietly and looked forward to tomorrow. A tomorrow that is ordinary but peaceful.